Hello, ladies, and welcome to our new Bible reading series. I'm Cindra Enlow from HeavenlyPlace.com, and this year, as we read through the Bible, we'll explore God's incredible story of love and redemption. If you're looking for a Bible reading plan that's simple and doable, this is it. So let's get started and discover the heart of God together, one chapter at a time. Hello, ladies, and welcome back to our one-year Bible reading plan. This is week 41. Day 5, and our scheduled reading for today is Mark chapters 5 and 6, Matthew 10 and 14, and Luke chapter 9. So we're going to see that these chapters have some of the most dramatic moments in Jesus' ministry, as we read in Mark 5 about Jesus healing a man possessed by many demons known as Legion. Then he heals a woman who's had an issue of blood for 12 years, and he raises Jairus' daughter from the dead. These miracles just show that Jesus' power is over spiritual bondage, disease, and even death. And then Mark 6 and Matthew 10 both focus on the disciples that are being sent out. Jesus gives them authority to heal and cast out demons, and he prepares them for the challenges that they're going to be facing, warning them that not everyone will welcome their message. And, we still see that today. But it's a strong call to boldness and faith. In Matthew 14, John the Baptist is killed by Herod, and soon after, Jesus feeds the 5,000 with just the 5 loaves and the 2 fish, probably one of the more familiar stories of the Bible. And later that night, Jesus walks on water and calms his terrified disciples. And each of these stories just shows his compassion and his divine authority. And then Luke 9 ties much of this together as he sends out the 12 disciples. He feeds the crowd again and is transfigured on the mountain. And then he also begins to prepare his disciples for the suffering to come. And here's where we see the heart of God. We see that Jesus meets people in desperate situations. He heals, he's compassionate, he shows his power, and he calls his followers to step out in faith, even when the path is uncertain and difficult and dangerous. And he reminds us that he's always near, even in the storm, even when we feel unprepared. He is both our provider and our protector, our teacher and our Savior. Okay, ladies, let's begin our reading today in Mark chapter 5 and 6, Matthew 10 and 14, and Luke chapter 9.
The Good News according to Mark. Chapter 5. And they came to the other side of the sea, into the country of the Gerasenes. And when he had got out of the boat, straightway there came to him from the place of the dead a man with an unclean spirit. He was living in the place of the dead, and no man was able to keep him down, no, not with a chain, because he had frequently been prisoned in chains and iron bands, and the chains had been parted and the bands broken by him, and no man was strong enough to make him quiet. And all the time, by day and by night, in the place of the dead, and in the mountains, he was crying out and cutting himself with stones. And when he saw Jesus from far off, he went quickly to him and gave him worship, and crying out with a loud voice he said, What have I to do with you, Jesus, Son of the Most High God? In God's name, do not be cruel to me. For Jesus had said to him, Come out of the man, you unclean spirit. And Jesus said, What is your name? And he made answer, My name is Legion, because there are a great number of us. And he made strong prayers to him not to send them away out of the country. Now on the mountainside there was a great herd of pigs getting their food. And they said to him, Send us into the pigs, so that we may go into them. And he let them do it. And the unclean spirits came out and went into the pigs, and the herd went rushing down a sharp slope into the sea, about 2,000 of them, and they came to their death in the sea. And their keepers went running and gave an account of it in the town and in the country. And people came to see what had taken place. And they came to Jesus, and saw the man in whom had been the evil spirit seated, clothed and with full use of his senses, and they were full of fear. And those who had seen it gave them an account of what had been done to him who had the evil spirits, and of the fate of the pigs. And they made a request to him to go out of their country. And when he was getting into the boat, the man in whom had been the evil spirits had a great desire to come with him. And he would not let him, but said to him, "Go to your house, to your friends, and give them news of the great things the Lord has done for you, and how he had mercy on you." And he went on his way, and made public in the country of Decapolis what great things Jesus had done for him, and all men were full of wonder. And when Jesus had gone over again in the boat to the other side, a great number of people came to him, and he was by the sea. And one of the rulers of the synagogue, Jairus by name, came, and seeing him, went down at his feet, and made strong prayers to him, saying, "My little daughter is near to death. It is my prayer that you will come and put your hands on her, so that she may be made well, and have life." And he went with him. And a great number of people went after him, and came round him. And a woman, who had had a flow of blood for 12 years, and had undergone much at the hands of a number of medical men, and had given all she had, and was no better, but even worse, when she had news of the things which Jesus did, went among the people coming after him, and put her hand on his robe. For she said, "If I may only put my hand on his robe, I will be made well." And straightway the fountain of her blood was stopped, and she had a feeling in her body that her disease had gone and she was well. And straightway Jesus was conscious that power had gone out of him, and, turning to the people, he said, "Who was touching my robe?" And his disciples said to him, "You see the people round you on every side, and you say, 'Who was touching me?'" And on his looking round to see her who had done this thing, the woman, shaking with fear, conscious of what had been done to her, came and, falling on her face before him, gave him a true account of everything. And he said to her, "Daughter, your faith has made you well. Go in peace, and be free from your disease." And while he was still talking, they came from the ruler of the synagogue's house, saying, "Your daughter is dead. Why are you still troubling the master?" But Jesus, giving no attention to their words, said to the ruler of the synagogue, "Have no fear, only have faith." And he did not let anyone come with him, but Peter and James and John, the brother of James. And they came to the house of the ruler of the synagogue, and he saw people running this way and that, and weeping and crying loudly. And when he had gone in, he said to them, "Why are you making such a noise and weeping? The child is not dead, but sleeping." And they were laughing at him. But he, having sent them all out, took the father of the child and her mother and those who were with him, and went in where the child was. And taking her by the hand, he said to her, "Talitha cumi," which is, "My child, I say to you, get up." And the young girl got up straightway, and was walking about, she being 12 years old. And they were overcome with wonder, and he gave them special orders that they were not to say anything of this, and he said that some food was to be given to her. Chapter 6. And he went away from there, and came into his country, and his disciples went with him. And when the Sabbath day had come, he was teaching in the synagogue, and a number of people hearing him was surprised, saying, "From where did this man get these things? And, what is the wisdom given to this man, and what are these works of power done by his hands? Is not this the woodworker, the son of Mary, and brother of James and Joses and Judas and Simon? And are not his sisters here with us?" And they were bitter against him. And Jesus said to them, "A prophet is nowhere without honor, but in his country, and among his relations, and in his family." And he was unable to do any work of power there, but only to put his hands on 1 or 2 persons who were ill, and make them well. And he was greatly surprised because they had no faith. And he went about the country places teaching. And he gave orders to the 12, and sent them out 2 by 2, and he gave them authority over the unclean spirits. And he said that they were to take nothing for their journey, but a stick only, no bread, no bag, no money in their pockets. They were to go with common shoes on their feet, and not to take 2 coats. And he said to them, "Wherever you go into a house, make that your resting place till you go away." and whatever place will not take you in and will not give ear to you, when you go away, put off the dust from your feet as a witness against them. And they went out, preaching the need for a change of heart in men. And they sent out a number of evil spirits, and put oil on a great number who were ill, and made them well. And King Herod had news of him, because his name was on the lips of all, and he said, John the Baptist has come back from the dead, and for this reason these powers are working in him. But others said, it is Elijah. And others said, it is a prophet, even like one of the prophets. But Herod, when he had news of it, said, John, whom I put to death, has come back from the dead. For Herod himself had sent men out to take John and put him in prison, because of Herodias, his brother Philip's wife, whom he had taken for himself. For John said to Herod, it is wrong for you to have your brother's wife. And Herodias was bitter against him, desiring to put him to death, but she was not able, for Herod was in fear of John, being conscious that he was an upright and holy man, and kept him safe. And hearing him, he was much troubled, and he gave ear to him gladly. And the chance came when Herod on his birthday gave a feast to his lords, and the high captains, and the chief men of Galilee. And when the daughter of Herodias herself came in and did a dance, Herod and those who were at table with him were pleased with her. And the king said to the girl, make a request for anything and I will give it you. And he took an oath, saying to her, whatever is your desire I will give it to you, even half of my kingdom. And she went out and said to her mother, what is my request to be? And she said, the head of John the Baptist. And she came in quickly to the king, and said, my desire is that you give me straight away on a plate the head of John the Baptist. And the king was very sad, but because of his oaths, and those who were with him at table, he would not say no to her. And straightway the king sent out one of his armed men, and gave him an order to come back with the head. And he went and took off John's head in prison, and came back with the head on a plate, and gave it to the girl, and the girl gave it to her mother. And when his disciples had news of it, they came and took up his body, and put it in its last resting place. And the 12 came together to Jesus, and they gave him an account of all the things they had done, and all they had been teaching. And he said to them, come away by yourselves to a quiet place, and take a rest for a time. Because there were a great number coming and going, and they had no time even for food. And they went away in the boat to a waste place by themselves. And the people saw them going, and a number of them, having knowledge who they were, went running there together on foot from all the towns, and got there before them. And he got out, and saw a great mass of people, and he had pity on them, because they were like sheep without a keeper, and he gave them teaching about a number of things. And at the end of the day, his disciples came to him and said, this place is waste land, and it is late, send them away, so that they may go into the country and small towns round about, and get some food for themselves. But he said to them in answer, give them food yourselves. And they said to him, are we to go and get bread for 200 pence, and give it to them? And he said to them, how much bread have you? Go and see. And when they had seen, they said, 5 cakes of bread and 2 fishes. And he made them all be seated in groups on the green grass. And they were placed in groups, by hundreds and by 50s. And he took the 5 cakes of bread and the 2 fishes and, looking up to heaven, he said words of blessing over them. And when the cakes were broken, he gave them to the disciples to put before the people, and he made division of the 2 fishes among them all. And they all took of the food and had enough. And they took up 12 baskets full of the broken bits and of the fishes. And those who took of the bread were 5,000 men. And straightway he made his disciples get into the boat, and go before him to the other side to Bethsaida, while he himself sent the people away. And after he had sent them away, he went up into a mountain for prayer. And by evening, the boat was in the middle of the sea, and he by himself on the land. And seeing that they had trouble in getting their boat through the water, because the wind was against them, about the 4th watch of the night he came to them, walking on the sea, and he would have gone past them, but they, when they saw him walking on the sea, took him for a spirit, and gave a loud cry, for they all saw him, and were troubled. But straightway he said to them, take heart, it is I, have no fear. And he went to them into the boat, and the wind went down, and they were full of wonder in themselves, for it was not clear to them about the bread, but their hearts were hard. And when they had gone across, they came to Gennesaret, and got their boat to land. And when they had got out of the boat, the people quickly had news of him, and went running through all the country round about, and took on their beds those who were ill, to where it was said that he was. And wherever he went, into small towns, or great towns, or into the country, they took those who were ill into the places, requesting him that they might put their hands even on the edge of his robe, and all those who did so were made well. The Good News according to Matthew. Chapter 10. And he got together his 12 disciples and gave them the power of driving out unclean spirits, and of making well all sorts of disease and pain. Now the names of the 12 are these: the first, Simon, who is named Peter, and Andrew, his brother, James, the son of Zebedee, and John, his brother, Philip and Bartholomew, Thomas and Matthew, the tax farmer, James, the son of Alphaeus, and Thaddeus, Simon the Zealot, and Judas Iscariot, who was false to him. These 12 Jesus sent out and gave them orders, saying, Do not go among the Gentiles, or into any town of Samaria, but go to the wandering sheep of the house of Israel, and, on your way, say, The kingdom of heaven is near. Make well those who are ill, give life to the dead, make lepers clean, send evil spirits out of men. Freely it has been given to you, freely give. Take no gold or silver or copper in your pockets, take no bag for your journey, and do not take 2 coats or shoes or a stick, for the workman has a right to his food. And into whatever town or small place you go, make search there for someone who is respected, and make his house your resting place till you go away. And when you go in, say, May peace be on this house. And if the house is good enough, let your peace come on it, but if not, let your peace come back to you. And whoever will not take you in, or give ear to your words, when you go out from that house or that town, put off its dust from your feet. Truly I say to you, it will be better for the land of Sodom and Gomorrah in the day of God's judging than for that town. See, I send you out as sheep among wolves. Be then as wise as snakes, and as gentle as doves. But be on the watch against men, for they will give you up to the Sanhedrins, and in their synagogues they will give you blows, and you will come before rulers and kings because of me, for a witness to them and to the Gentiles. But when you are given up into their hands, do not be troubled about what to say or how to say it, for in that hour what you are to say will be given to you, because it is not you who say the words, but the Spirit of your Father in you. And brother will give up brother to death, and the father his child, and children will go against their fathers and mothers, and put them to death. And you will be hated by all men because of my name, but he who is strong to the end will have salvation. But when they are cruel to you in one town, go in flight to another, for truly, I say to you, you will not have gone through the towns of Israel before the Son of Man comes. A disciple is not greater than his master, or a servant than his Lord. It is enough for the disciple that he may be as his master, and the servant as his Lord. If they are given the name Beelzebub to the master of the house, how much more to those of his house? Have, then, no fear of them, because nothing is covered which will not come to light, or secret which will not be made clear. What I say to you in the dark, say in the light, and what comes to your ear secretly, say publicly from the housetops. And have no fear of those who put to death the body, but are not able to put to death the soul. But have fear of him who has power to give soul and body to destruction in hell. Are not sparrows 2 a farthing? And not one of them comes to an end without your Father, but the hairs of your head are all numbered. Then have no fear, you are of more value than a flock of sparrows. To everyone, then, who gives witness to me before men, I will give witness before my Father in heaven. But if anyone says before men that he has no knowledge of me, I will say that I have no knowledge of him before my Father in heaven. Do not have the thought that I have come to send peace on the earth. I came not to send peace but a sword. For I have come to put a man against his father, and the daughter against her mother, and the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law, and a man will be hated by those of his house. He who has more love for his father or mother than for me is not good enough for me. He who has more love for son or daughter than for me is not good enough for me. and he who does not take his cross and come after me is not good enough for me. He who has the desire to keep his life will have it taken from him, and he who gives up his life because of me will have it given back to him. He who gives honor to you gives honor to me, and he who gives honor to me gives honor to him who sent me. He who gives honor to a prophet, in the name of a prophet, will be given a prophet's reward, and he who gives honor to an upright man, in the name of an upright man, will be given an upright man's reward. And whoever gives to one of these little ones a cup of cold water only, in the name of a disciple, truly I say to you, he will not go without his reward. Chapter 14. At that time news of Jesus came to Herod the king, and he said to his servants, "This is John the Baptist, he has come back from the dead, and so these powers are working in him." For Herod had taken John and put him in prison because of Herodias, his brother Philip's wife, because John had said to him, "It is not right for you to have her." And he would have put him to death, but for his fear of the people, because in their eyes John was a prophet. But when Herod's birthday came, the daughter of Herodias was dancing before them, and Herod was pleased with her. So he gave her his word with an oath to let her have whatever she might make request for. And she, at her mother's suggestion, said, "Give me here on a plate the head of John the Baptist." And the king was sad, but because of his oaths and because of his guests, he gave the order for it to be given to her, and he sent and had John's head cut off in the prison. And his head was put on a plate and given to the girl, and she took it to her mother. And his disciples came, and took up his body and put it in the earth, and they went and gave Jesus news of what had taken place. Now when it came to the ears of Jesus, he went away from there in a boat, to a waste place by himself, and the people hearing of it, went after him on foot from the towns. And he came out and saw a great number of people, and he had pity on them, and made well those of them who were ill. And when evening had come, the disciples came to him, saying, "This place is waste land, and the time is now past. Send the people away so that they may go into the towns and get themselves food." But Jesus said to them, "There is no need for them to go away, give them food yourselves." And they say to him, "We have here but 5 cakes of bread and 2 fishes. And he said, "Give them to me." And he gave orders for the people to be seated on the grass, and he took the 5 cakes of bread and the 2 fishes and, looking up to heaven, he said words of blessing, and made division of the food, and gave it to the disciples, and the disciples gave it to the people. And they all took of the food and had enough, and they took up 12 baskets full of broken bits which were not used. And those who had food were about 5,000 men, in addition to women and children. And straightway he made the disciples get into the boat and go before him to the other side, till he had sent the people away. And after he had sent the people away, he went up into the mountain by himself for prayer, and when evening was come, he was there by himself. But the boat was now in the middle of the sea, and was troubled by the waves, for the wind was against them. And in the 4th watch of the night he came to them, walking on the sea. And when they saw him walking on the sea, they were troubled, saying, "It is a spirit," and they gave cries of fear. But straightway Jesus said to them, "Take heart, it is I, have no fear." And Peter, answering, said to him, "Lord, if it is you, give me the order to come to you on the water." And he said, "Come." And Peter got out of the boat, and walking on the water, went to Jesus. But when he saw the wind he was in fear, and, starting to go down, he gave a cry, saying, "Help, Lord." And straightway Jesus put out his hand and took a grip of him, and said to him, "O man of little faith, why were you in doubt?" And when they had got into the boat, the wind went down. And those who were in the boat gave him worship, saying, "Truly you are the Son of God." And when they had gone across, they came to land at Gennesaret. And when the men of that place had news of him, they sent into all the country round about, and took to him all who were ill, with the request that they might only put their hands on the edge of his robe, and all those who did so were made well. The Good News according to Luke. Chapter 9. And getting the 12 together, he gave them power and authority over all evil spirits and over diseases, to make them well. And he sent them out to be preachers of the kingdom of God, and to make well those who were ill. And he said to them, "Take nothing for your journey, no stick or bag or bread or money, and do not take 2 coats. And if you go into a house, let that house be your resting place till you go away. And if any people will not take you in, when you go away from that town, put off its dust from your feet for a witness against them. And they went away, journeying through all the towns, preaching the good news and making people free from diseases in all places. Now Herod the king had news of all these things, and he was in doubt, because it was said by some people that John had come back from the dead, and by some, that Elijah had come, and by others, that one of the old prophets had come back to life. And Herod said, I put John to death, but who is this, of whom such stories are given to me? And he had a desire to see him. And the 12, when they came back, gave him an account of what they had done. And he took them with him and went away from the people to a town named Bethsaida. But the people, getting news of it, went after him, and he was pleased to see them, and gave them teaching about the kingdom of God, and made those well who were in need of it. And the day went on, and the 12 came to him and said, Send these people away so that they may go into the towns and the country round about and get resting places and food for themselves, for we are in a waste place. But he said, Give them food yourselves. And they said, We have only 5 cakes of bread and 2 fishes, if we do not go and get food for all these people. For there were about 5,000 men. And he said to his disciples, Make them be seated in groups, about 50 to a group. And they did so, and made them all be seated. And he took the 5 cakes of bread and the 2 fishes and, looking up to heaven, he said words of blessing over them. And when they had been broken, he gave them to the disciples to give to the people. And they all took the food and had enough. And they took up of the broken bits which were over, 12 baskets full. And it came about that when he was in prayer, by himself, and the disciples were with him, he put a question to them, saying, Who do the people say I am? And they, answering, said, John the Baptist, but others say Elijah, and others, that one of the old prophets has come back. And he said, But who do you say that I am? And Peter, answering, said, The Christ of God. But he gave them special orders, not to say this to any man, saying, The Son of Man will undergo much and be put on one side by the rulers and the chief priests and the teachers of the law, and be put to death, and on the 3rd day he will come back to life. And he said to them all, If any man has a desire to come after me, let him give up all, and take up his cross every day, and come after me. For whoever has a desire to keep his life will have it taken from him, but whoever gives up his life because of me, will keep it. For what profit will a man have if he gets all the world, but undergoes loss or destruction himself? For if any man has a feeling of shame because of me or of my words, the Son of Man will have shame because of him when he comes in his glory and the glory of the Father and of the holy angels. But truly I say to you, some of those who are here now will have no taste of death till they see the kingdom of God. And about 8 days after he had said these things, he took Peter and John and James with him and went up into the mountain for prayer. And while he was in prayer, his face was changed and his clothing became white and shining. And 2 men, Moses and Elijah, were talking with him, who were seen in glory and were talking of his death which was about to take place in Jerusalem. Now Peter and those who were with him were overcome with sleep, but when they were fully awake, they saw his glory and the 2 men who were with him. And when they were about to go away from him, Peter said to Jesus, Master, it is good for us to be here. Let us make 3 tents, one for you and one for Moses and one for Elijah, having no knowledge of what he was saying. And while he said these things, the shade of a cloud came over them, and they were full of fear when they went into the cloud. And there was a voice from the cloud saying, This is my son, the man of my selection, give ear to him. And after the voice was gone they saw that Jesus was by himself. And they kept quiet, and said nothing at that time to anyone of the things which they had seen. And on the day after, when they came down from the mountain, a great band of people came to him. And a man from among them, crying out, said, Master, I make a request to you, give a thought to my son, for he is my only child, and see, a spirit takes him. And suddenly he gives a cry, twisted in pain and streaming at the lips, and when it goes away from him at last, he is marked as from blows. and I made a request to your disciples to send it out of him, but they were not able to do it." And Jesus said, "O generation without faith and false in heart, how long will I have to be with you and put up with you? Let your son come here." And while he was coming, he was pushed violently down and twisted by the evil spirit. But Jesus gave sharp orders to the unclean spirit, and made the boy well, and gave him back to his father. And they were full of wonder at the great power of God. But while they were all wondering at all the things which he did, he said to his disciples, "Let these words go deep into your ears, for the Son of Man will be given up into the hands of men." But this saying was not clear to them, and its sense was kept secret from them so that they were not able to see it, and they had fear of questioning him about it. Now there was a discussion among them about which of them would be the greatest. But when Jesus saw the reasoning of their hearts, he took a small child and put him by his side, and said to them, "Whoever gives honor to this child in my name, gives honor to me, and whoever gives honor to me, gives honor to him who sent me, for whoever is least among you all, that man is great." And John, answering, said, "Master, we saw a man driving out evil spirits in your name, and we did not let him do it, because he was not one of us." But Jesus said to him, "Let him do it, for he who is not against you is for you." And it came about that when the days were near for him to be taken up, his face was turned to go to Jerusalem, and he sent men before, and they came to a small town of Samaria to make ready for him. But they would not have him there, because he was clearly going to Jerusalem. And when his disciples, James and John, saw this, they said, "Lord, may we send fire from heaven and put an end to them?" But turning round he said sharp words to them. And they went to another small town. And when they were on the way, a certain man said to him, "I will come after you wherever you go." And Jesus said to him, "Foxes have holes and the birds of the air have resting places, but the Son of Man has nowhere to put his head." And he said to another, "Come after me." But he said, "Lord, let me first go and give the last honors to my Father." But he said to him, "Let the dead take care of their dead, it is for you to go and give news of the kingdom of God." And another man said, "I will come with you, Lord, but first let me say a last good day to those who are at my house." But Jesus said, "No man, having put his hand to the plow and looking back, is good enough for the kingdom of God."